Hello everyone, I'm Darlene Zoller, co-founder and co-artistic director here at Playhouse on Park, and today I'm interviewing Johann Fitzpatrick, the lighting designer for All Is Calm. Hi Johann, come on in. Have a seat, take your mask off, I'll stay way more than 6 feet away from you and we'll be as safe as can be. So welcome.
Hello.
I would love to start with just a little Johann background information, where you come from, your education, and how you ended up here at Playhouse on Park.
Okay, I come from New York City, born and raised in Manhattan. I went to college in Dublin, Ireland. I was there for 5 years. I did my undergrad in technical theater and my master's in stage and lighting design at Trinity College Dublin, their new theater school, the Lear. And then I came back here in 2018. I moved to Connecticut with my now wife, who was attending UConn School of Medicine, so that's how I ended up in West Hartford. And then once here, I started working in the area. I worked for Playhouse, I worked for other theaters in the area, but I liked the vibe of Playhouse and ended up designing and falling into full-time work as the technical director. So I've been the technical director here for something like 18 months, and I've designed 6 or 7 shows. I don't even know. I've designed a lot here now, and it's great. I love working here.
It's exciting that you've done that many shows. Can you tell us which one was your favorite?
I really, probably Tenderly. I had a lot of fun on Tenderly. I felt like I really hit my stride of like knowing how to use the space really well. I loved the Scottsboro Boys. I really loved Pride and Prejudice. It's toss-up. It's always about the next project.
Absolutely. But you mentioned the space. This space is interesting, 3/4, and always has a little drawback here and there. Is there anything that makes it a particular challenge to lighting this building?
There is no ideal theater anywhere. This space has its quirks like every other theater. There's, it's an interest. It's a grid with lots of obstructions and things that you have to work around. But there's also there's a lot of really up to date and cool equipment here. Part of the fun of working in theater is always solving puzzles and figuring out how things are going to work. So we've yet to come across one that I haven't been able to solve and get working.
So as luck would have it, you've got all the kinks worked out of here, more or less, and then we throw you a big curveball.
Yep.
So All Is Calm was filmed completely outdoors. So tell us about your process to try and light a show outdoors.
Well, not only was it outdoors, but it was being filmed, which is, it's a different medium. Like, when we were lighting outdoors for the summer performances, it was one thing because it was live, and I kind of knew, how things would look once the sun goes down and how actors look. But film is, I've done very little. I did a little bit of film work in college, but really so little. So it was 2 schools of learning for me. So it really ended up being, I felt, all these ideas that I have about way back when this was going to be a stage play, and ideas of like how things were going. They just completely, everything goes out, and it was a completely new process of starting from what can we make work, just for the cameras, and then from there trying to be, in some way artistic. Really fascinating, and it's from, adverse projects that you tend to get, really cool new ideas. And as we talk about, the potential future of Playhouse and, kind of what we do beyond our space, it was nice to have a really big challenge like this to kind of say like, oh, these are the kinks that need to be worked out, and these are our limits that we can push against. So it's a fun project.
Yeah, and I know how much research you did and how much time you spent at our farm just scoping out spaces and places and different ways that you could light things. I'm sure it was all a big challenge, but do you feel like you learned a lot by doing this production?
Oh yeah. No, I definitely learned a lot. About what's required for filming, and kind of what my limits are, and where it was a new process of using stuff not for its intended purpose, lights for film and lights for theater. In theory, there's a lot of overlap, but there's different stuff and kind of using stuff in kind of a little bit of a piratical way, and kind of figure out, okay, well, I don't have anywhere to put stands here, so what can I do to build out a safe platform for all these lights to sit on where, no one's going to get injured. So it's kind of, a little bit of rock and roll of, rolling and figuring stuff out kind of on my feet, which was really fun.
Well, I know we were under such a big time crunch. We literally had, excuse me, one day and in essence 12 hours to accomplish this immense feat. And I know for me as a producer, it was very challenging trying to figure out how to make everything happen in those 12 hours because there was no going back and no going forward. It was that or nothing. So did you feel a lot of pressure in that?
Absolutely, and it was my real goal going into the day of shooting was just to make sure that I wasn't the one holding anything up, to make sure, basically, half the shoot was during daylight when, there's nothing for me to do. And then it was all at night where we were entirely dependent on, lighting up. So it's, I went into, in advance and did test setups of like, here are the 3 main areas we want to shoot. Here's how I can have everything so it's mobile to be adjusted, but we don't spend a huge amount of time in between each shooting location. So it was a big puzzle to be solved, and it was really like, trying to make sure that I wasn't the fact that, the holding up factor. And it ended up working out well. Like once we got into the night shoots, we were rolling along fine. It was just a matter, we had the freedom to spend time adjusting and tweaking without worrying about running out of time from a technical perspective, which I was very proud of.
Yes, and we had such a great team, which made it
Absolutely,
a wonderful process.
Cannot take full credit for that.
No, and I feel like I learned so much, and what I learned most is that as fun as it was, I love theater, and I can't wait to get back to live theater and doing this on this stage. I wish we could have done this production on this stage, and perhaps we will bring it back because I'm sure you had a vision.
I really did, and I was, there was, we talked about that. I was potentially on board for designing the set as well, and I always love when I get to design set and lights together again. That's how my mind tends to work in design. So yeah, I would love to bring it back onto the stage, but I think it's going to be a really cool thing to see what it turned out to be as a film, and I think it's going to be, it's its own entity now. It's so far beyond what I thought the stage play could have been.
Yes, I agree, and I think that holiday shows tend to come back year after year.
Yeah.
Christmas Carol, things like that. So it's not out of the question that we might bring it back, put it on the stage, and make it a beautiful production. So as you said, you've designed lights and sets for several productions here. Yeah. But what is the one show on your bucket list that you would love to design, whether it be sets or lights or both?
Oh, I don't know. There's things specifically that I feel like this space would be fun for. Like, even shows that I'm not, like, maybe I don't particularly love them as shows, but I just think would be a fun challenge for me. Like, there's the Broadway musical from about a decade ago, Hands on a Hard Body, which is, about a contest to win a truck down in Texas where you gotta keep your crown. I just thought it'd be fun to figure out how do I get a pickup truck in here that it can spin and get everybody dancing around. I would love to do like Bloody Andrew Jackson, because I feel like it's kind of a punk rocky kind of feel, and I think it would be really cool, like get a really loud band in here and like really that kind of. So I don't know. I would love to do more kind of aggressive guerrilla-y type productions, but that's also I'm a 25-year-old college grad, and our audience is a different type of viewer. So what I want to design may not be especially what our audience wants to see, and I accept that because I really find, and this is especially true, it was really true with Tenderly, that the projects that you're initially like, oh, well, yeah, I guess that'll be fine, I can do that. They turn into the ones that you're really fascinated by and that turn into the really, like, the coolest things. So I'm always open-minded with what's brought to me. I'm like, how can I make this something that I'm interested in? And, projects surprise you a lot. And, that's why I'm not a curator or a producer. Like, I trust other people to bring me on board to their team, but there's so much involved in being the driving force of, like, what will actually work in this space.
And trying to decide what our audience will like is always a challenge.
Yeah.
And you said, crazy things that you like to do. Remember that I introduced Mama D's Outrageous Romp to this theater thinking nobody's gonna come.
Yeah.
And here we are 13 iterations later.
Very
and
true.
So I'm thinking Hands on a Hard Body a la Mama D would
Yeah.
be amazing.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna file that away in my brain.
Yeah, keep it in the back of your mind.
I've got it. You mentioned your lovely wife, Katie.
Yep.
So you were supposed to get married this year.
We did get married.
And COVID.
We didn't have the wedding that we were looking for. We're hopefully it's hopefully just been shunted to next summer. We still have the venue, we still have the band and everything. But we went from our you know, I mean, the other big part of it is, you know, because I went to college in Ireland, most of the people, half of my, you know, groom's party, were coming from Europe, and that was obviously just not gonna happen.
Wow.
So we had a little backyard wedding at her parents' house. It was just our parents, our siblings, and Katie's maid of honor, who was a really close friend of ours from high school, and that was it. And it was a fantastic ceremony. Really loved it. And hopefully we get the big party. But
Yeah.
you know,
And I
either
love
way-
that because you made it about the marriage and not about the wedding.
Yeah.
And the wedding can be just a party later, and it'll be a great fun. But
Yeah.
we at Playhouse on Park are so grateful to Katie for bringing you here.
Yeah,
and keeping
gets
you
full
here.
Credit. She gets full credit.
So
for it.
I'm super stoked about that. So thank you, Katie. This is our rapid fire question section.
Okay.
So you ready? Dust
Yeah.
off that brain. First thing that comes to your mind. Musicals or plays?
Musicals.
Sweet or savory?
Sweet.
Indoors or outdoors?
Indoors.
Mountains or beach?
Beach.
Summer, winter, spring, or fall?
Fall.
What is your favorite song to jam out to in the car, in your case, in your truck?
Bloody Mary Morning, Willie Nelson.
Crazy. And this is your last question, your favorite Broadway show?
My favorite Broadway show. I've seen a lot of Broadway shows. I want to say American Idiot just because it was such a big deal to me when it came out. It was like the big anticipated show. I wouldn't say it's the best Broadway show, but I think it's my favorite Broadway show. Yeah.
That's fantastic, and that's all your opinion matters,
Yeah.
is whatever you like the best. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the information. Frog in my throat. Thank you for all the work you put into For All It's Calm, because I was witness to it, and it was magical. So thank you so, so much. Appreciate it. I'm going to ask you to step away while I say goodbye to our audience.
This guy back up.
Safety precautions, people. All right, so thank you to Johann, and everybody remember we are streaming from December 16th to January 3rd. If you're a subscriber, you'll be automatically getting a stream. Otherwise, please make a purchase. Consider making it a gift. Send it off to somebody anywhere in the country, and that's the only, not the only benefit, but that's the biggest benefit of filming things. We can send it all around the world. So I thank you so much, and all is calm.